welcome to episode 60 of Weird Mind Newsroom, where of course, in the usual, we're going to be talking about the new releases of the week, some couple of trailers, and a few news stories for the week as well, but mix and match of stuff. So let's not waste too much time, and let's get into talking about all things media for this week. Minions, today we have released a new release. As for the big release of this week is with the franchise that started off as a unique aspect idea back 14 years ago in the original in 2010, that has grown into a massive 6-film franchise with 4 mainline and 2 spin-offs for the moment, with the return to the newest edition of Despicable Me 4. The plot this time around will see Gru and his family, including the new edition of Gru Jr., which is still an indication that Gru and Lucy did the despicable in the house, who's my bad girl, will have to go into hiding after a criminal mastermind and old nemesis of Gru with Maxime Lamal, played by Will Ferrell, is out for revenge against the former villain, as well as some other elements and stories mixed in there, which of course includes the Minions. Reception for this film has been mixed, with praise on the elements of the animation, cinematography, and some of the cast performances, though some other characters are really underutilized, the stories feel all over the place and it feels like multiple films in one. None of them connect to each other, and the villain is very disappointingly weak, as well as some other characters that just feel like they are really wasted in this. Now, I've seen the film myself, and I will agree the film is not that great, and I will give my review for it very soon. But if you want to see something for the kids or families that will enjoy it, even though I feel like it deserves a little bit better, you can check this film out yourself when it's now out in cinemas.
Well, the first 2 horrors for the week is with the film that has taken the internet by storm by being a film project that has been so cryptic with its marketing that it is genius, as we have received the newest horror of Long Legs. The film follows FBI agent Lee Harker, played by Micah Monroe, as she's assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult and discovering a secret that connects her to the killer. Must do what she can to stop him before he strikes again. Reception for this film has been very well praised for its concept and execution, its tension, scares, and performances, particularly those of Monroe and Nicolas Cage. Although some people see the ending a bit hit or miss and it feels it's not overly scary, but get the gist. If you want to learn the secret of genius marketing, you can do it when you check this film out now in cinemas. Now for a new rom-com based story set to the tone of one of the most iconic moments of history and one of the most discussed conspiracies with it as well, as if the new space-based rom-com of Fly Me to the Moon. This film will see sparks fly between a marketing executive played by Scarlett Johansson and a NASA official played by Channing Tatum as he makes preparations for the Apollo 11 moon landing, adding an element of a backup plan if things go wrong. Reception has been modestly received with praise to the lead performances, the setting and tone, even with a mix of some elements of the plot are a bit hit or miss. But if you want to check this new film that reaches for the stars of a rom-com, I don't really need to reach for the stars. I have one that I know very much, the whole universe to me. And you can check this new film out now in cinemas. As for the last of the films and the second of the horror movies of this week is giving us a new look at the likes of a slasher genre by seeing it through the eyes of a killer, as we have the new horror slasher of In a Violent Nature. The film follows the resurrected corpse of a man named Johnny, who was out for revenge against a group of teens who steal a locket that kept the soul of his vengeful spirit from a crime that happened to him 60 years ago, and will hunt them down in a bloody rampage to get it back and return to his eternal slumber. Reception for this film has been well praised, with unique concepts and approach to horror being well liked, and also for some of the depths and executions, where one audio piece went around the time of the US release, where some dude literally barfed in the middle of the theater and everyone applauded. That's how grotesque apparently it was. And if you want to go on a murderous walk in the woods, you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. The last of the new releases is with a new animated series that is spawned from being a new sequel take on an adult-based animated film from a decade ago that shows that the things we eat have learned the truth and are now fucked up and are out for revenge, as they have released the all-new sequel series of Sausage Party Foodtopia. This will follow on from the original movie, where food has fought back against the humans and are now made the world safe for food to live in harmony, and also be a bit raunchy. But soon, when unknown elements like rain, tensions amongst the food, and societal disbelief starts to kick in, it will soon see Frank, Barry, Brenda, and Sammy Bagel restore balance and save the world back to a better place for all food kind, and may even take a dumb human to help them. Reception for the series has been a bit more of a mixed response that will see praise in the voice work and some elements of humor, but is a far cry of the sharp-witted humor of the original raunchy animated film. Even though the original film also ended on a different way, they were going to go to the real world and kill their voice actors. It feels
was a bit more overbaked and messy in the outcome, but if you want to check out this 8-course meal, then you can catch the full season now on Amazon Prime. With all that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
Gladiators! Ready!
We shall start the trailers for this week with one that popped up at the very end of last week that came out after I recorded last week, so I could not add it in. But this one looks like the director of the really great Top Gun Maverick is feeling the need for speed once again. But we're not taking to the skies, but rather tearing up the asphalt, as we have unveiled the first look at the upcoming film adaptation of F1. This film will be following Sonny Hayes, played by Brad Pitt, who had a terrible crash back in the 1990s and forced to retire from F1 and racing and other disciplines. But he soon comes out of retirement when an old former friend of his, played by Javier Bardem, asks him to mentor a rookie prodigy, Joshua Pierce, on the major team of the AX PGP. Now, I think the likes of focusing on the high-octane levels of racing and adrenaline from the skies above or fighter jets to the high speed of Formula 1 racing seems really intriguing, and if shown so far, looks like they're going to go for the feel and getting behind the wheel. And it looks interesting, and it'll be worth checking out when the film releases into cinemas on June 25th next year. I asked the question, who's been messing up everything? Well, besides the likes of some quality standpoints and some online saying that it's the woke morals of the overall company, but we are not talking on that, and the latter is our blonde and makes no sense anyway, as we were talking about someone with a bit of a wicked side that comes from another series with a popular character back to cause chaos, as we have received the first trailer for the new series of Agatha all along. The series will follow on from WandaVision, with Agatha escaping her prison as she was encased in by Wanda at the help of a mysterious goth teen played by Aubrey Plaza, who wishes to face the trials of the legendary Witch's Road. And soon, without her powers, Agatha will form a new coven with the teen and some others in order to face the trials themselves and all regain their powers. Now, I really enjoyed her character in the original miniseries, and no, honestly, I like the approach of this going in the realm of these supernatural horrors. Like, from what they showed off in the trailer, it looks like they're going for full-blown horror, and you know, I'm all for that. I hope they go all in, have the most visually terrifying aesthetics. Maybe also introduce the MCU version of the Devil of Mephisto somewhere, but we'll have to see. Apparently, it was rumored Sacha Baron Cohen was going to be that, so I don't know. But we'll have to find out when the series premieres Disney Plus with a 2-episode premiere in 2 months' time on September 18th. Are you not entertained so far? Well, hopefully the next film will provide just that, as after a bit of waiting and anticipation, they have finally unveiled this week with a first trailer for the upcoming sequel to Ridley Scott's epic, Gladiator 2. The story will be set 2 decades after the original and follow Lucius, the former heir to the Roman Empire, who becomes a gladiator after his home is invaded by the Romans led by General Marcus Axius, I think is played by Pedro Pascal, and will resolve to fight against the opposing rule of the young emperors of Caracalla and Geta. This project seems like it is building on something epic, and so far from the footage, it looks like they are heading to that big huge flair and spectacle, and it looks interesting. Now hopefully this film will be a return to form for the director and give him some more of a cash and appeal that some of his previous films should have gotten, like Last Jewel, Napoleon, or House of Gucci kind of thing. And we will see how it turns out when the film releases in the cinemas on November 15th. Are you ready, kids? Oh! As for another undersea adventure with everyone's favorite absorbent sea creature, as you're heading to the Lone Star State on a surface level adventure with the new film of Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Now this film will see the entirety of Bikini Bottom being scooped out of the ocean depths, and we'll see Sandy teaming up with Spongebob on a journey to Sandy's home state of Texas, where they meet her family and team up to save the town from an evil CEO. Now the odd choice of this is that they decided to wait a little while longer to unveil and release this, given that the entire film has leaked on Twitter since January of this year. I was going to bring it up back then, but I felt like, don't want to talk too much on Twitter. Not sure if it's still on there, but who knows with that mess of a social site anyway. And it does not look bad. Hopefully it'll be a bit more of a unique of a story than Sponge on a Run, which was just basically taking the Where's Gary episode and made into a feature-length film. But I'm sure we can find out when this film releases in just under a month's time on August 2nd. And the final trailer for this week was one that I was not expecting to see released this early. Maybe another 2 or 3 weeks time after, the likes of Comic-Con or later in the fall. But it looks like we are prepping to suit up and take to the skies as you're seeing the new first trailer of the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan. So you have received the first trailer for Captain America Brave New World. This new film will see the new Captain America of Sam Wilson at the center of an international incident and must work with the newly elected president of Thunderbolt Ross to stop the true brains behind the whole ordeal and prevent catastrophe. So I was wondering if one of these projects for next year was being delayed, as it seemed this or Blade may get it for reasons of either messy development with Blade or a potential lot of reshoots and rechanges for stuff with this one. But from this teaser, it does look really interesting, and it seems to be going finally answering the big ancient celestial being shaped elephant in the room and going for a more political thriller akin to the Winter Soldier aesthetic, and I think it looks exciting. The only issue I have with this trailer is it feels like the editing is very choppy and nearly causing a bit of an epileptic seizure, but I'm sure I will give this a look into when they release in the cinemas on February 14th of next year. Of all that, that's all the new trailers that we have for this week.
Hey, Fernand. My eyes are up here.
So, the first story for this week is delving into some news based on the aspect of the ever-growing form of adaptations of video games. A concept you can look at my long-form video about it that I uploaded only a year ago at this point. I have a little bit of news on the likes of one adaptation that has been in the works for a while, but went silent for a bit, and we now have a bit of a sad update. To some, possibly, I don't know. Now, as you have seen, Sony or PlayStation has started to evolve more of their adaptations based on their projects, like likes of, the Ratchet & Clank movie in 2016, a Sly Cooper movie that I think is just dead at this point, unless it's been confirmed it's still in development, a Twisted Metal series that only came out a couple of weeks ago where I'm from, but I've heard it's pretty good, a Gran Turismo film that is surprisingly decent, even though they kind of used a crash in that film that actually happened 2 years after the setting of the location of the film is a mess, and of course their big success story of the adaptation of The Last of Us, with the second season currently filming, which has actually shown a photo of what Ellie looks like, and it's quite a bit of the internet. But there has been discussion of two more adaptations that we're known about, which is of course the God of War adaptation coming to Amazon Prime, and the focus of this story of the adaptation of the Horizon series for Netflix. However, that may be changing, as according to sources, it seems the Horizon series adaptation has now been shelved at the moment on Netflix. The reason for this, from what I have gathered, is connected to some allegations I meant to bring up last week that involved the showrunner of this series and the current original showrunner for The Umbrella Academy, with that fourth season coming in a couple of weeks, of Steve Blackman, for apparently fostering a hostile working environment on the latter show. And he was fronted as the showrunner for this new adaptation, but it seems like because of these allegations, they are worried of letting this happen. Now, do I see the likes of the series come back? Maybe. It could be with another showrunner, or else it could go on another streamer or channel down the line, but it's hard to say, and it really is rough for this series as it gets overlooked, kind of gets flack where it gets a lot of award nominations and gets nothing. People complain about the looks of the main lead, which is just completely unnecessary, but I think a full series adaptation for this would be really cool. I hope we can see a return to this world in the future. But what are your own thoughts on this whole shelving, and do you see the likes of this series making a comeback? Who would you cast in the main lead of Alloy? In my head, I keep thinking of Rose Leslie or Ygritte from Game of Thrones. And also, what are your thoughts on these showrunner allegations, and do you see them as being factual or a bit all over the place? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. So on the second story for the week is with a little bit of an update to some announced release dates for the likes of some projects and films that have dropped this week, and we are delving into the mixed variety of genres for these new release dates, and let me run through what was unveiled. So we start this one with honestly a surprising one to hear is getting a sequel in general, but I guess there was a demand for this project and some fans out there. But it seems earlier this week they announced a sequel to the 2006 fashion-based comedy drama of The Devil Wears Prada, and we'll see the return so far of, I believe, one of the main stars, of course, Meryl Streep, is supposed to be confirmed back for this role. Now the film, from what I got in the plot, is said to be seeing Streep's character's magazine company face a decline in the age of printed media is dying in a digital age, and is looking to find a way to get back on top, and I think this is where one of your characters comes in. I have heard elements here and there that one of the other co-stars of Emily Blunt may have been also been confirmed to be returning for this, but the only person that is certainly uncertain right now is Anne Hathaway, as she was also uncertain of a sequel to this ever happening in an interview earlier this year. So far, no release date has been confirmed, but we'll see the original director, producer, and writer come back for this, so whether this will blend well or not is hard to say, or it's going to be a fashion disaster, but we'll have to find out later when this film gets updated about stuff. Next, a bit more of a spooky factor, as we are based on some form of a true story. As you have been wondering when was the next edition of a decade-long franchise will be over, soon, as it is announced that the fourth and final entry in the main Conjuring series, now has a release date of September 5th, 2025, as well as seeing the likes of another horror-based film move up to that month with Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, which is a Frankenstein film, moving to September 26th of that same month. Supposedly the name I've heard floating around for a bit of this one was Last Rites, but this may have been dropped or it's the TV series and it's uncertain what true case they will be focused on, but I'm sure James Wan and his team will come up with something for the final swan song for the Warrens, and I will update down the line once anything comes out about it. Next on the list is going on a bit of a sci-fi adventure, but this time with a bit of an anime flair, and everyone's favorite drunk scientist and awkward nephew has been unveiled, and we have a release date for the Rick and Morty anime. Yes, this is real. Going off the trailer that was released, we now have a confirmed release date for the series starting in about a month's time on August 16th across the US and Europe. It's unclear at the moment this will take the slot for the moment of the 8th season for the main series for this year, or if that will come later in the year. But I'm sure they'll clear it up over time with the series release and we'll follow up more Rick and Morty adventures, but I guess we'll have to wait and see when that drops. And just when you thought the new release was the only time we was talking about some of these specific characters, well, you would be mistaken, as coming out less than a week after the US release for the movie, and a day before release here, the studio of Illumination has announced that we are getting a third movie in the Minion series. They'll be releasing now on June 30th, 2027. So I'm not sure of how they will evolve this film series in particular, and this film will also decide to get confused on the basis of the timeline age it grew in this one, because he's 12 in 1968, he's 12 in 1976, and then they emphasize as well that possibly the canonized one is the first Minions in the fourth movie, but I'm not getting into it. And if he is in this, of course, which most likely probably is, because you know how they seem with Minions 2 worked out, then we'll be optimistic but skeptical on what else they can do with the series in general. Maybe probably just wraps around to the original or something, but I'm not sure. Hopefully it'll be decently good as Rise of Gru, but I'm guessing we'll have to learn more over time on what this one will entail. I'll follow on from the next Mario movie, which is one I'm actually looking forward to, but you know, we'll have to see when that comes along. But what are your opinions on all these announcements, and is there any particular that you are looking forward to? Let me know what you think down below, and let's discuss what you believe will happen for any of these. Okay, so this one's not really much of a news story, but I just want to give a little congratulations to two big name actresses, as there has been the announcement of some big news for both of them. It was announced that early this week that both Margot Robbie and Alexandra Daddario have announced that they are both expecting their first child with their partners. All I have to say is that this is fantastic news, and that I can see both of them being excellent parents as well as already being excellent actresses. I wish them all the best in the future to soon to be parents in the future. Our second last story is getting into another film that was unveiled and released recently with a little bit of an update to a continuing part of it, as was an update for the progress for another film that has been dominating the charts. So first up relates to the recently released Western from actor Kevin Costner, and that is of course the movie of Horizon and American Saga. Wow, two projects news stories talking about Horizon. If I had a nickel for every time they talked about Horizon in the video, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it would happen twice. It has been established that for the last few weeks that the film has not garnered the best reception, and the likes that the film is also being split into multiple parts and not really doing well in terms of the box office either, give and take that the film is also a free runtime. I didn't really see much screenings in my local cinema, which is surprising. I was initially planned that the part 2 was dropping next month, but that was before this week. On Thursday of this week, it was announced that out of nowhere, the Horizon American Saga Part 2 will now no longer be releasing on its planned August 16 release date, as the reason behind it was due to the poor reception and box office of Part 1. So far, it's only made like 23 million in its 2 weeks. It's unclear if the likes of the film will see a theatrical release or get a straight-to-streaming release for the remaining parts, but we'll be waiting to see if any of the word on that, as it's also confirmed that Part 1 is releasing on video on demand next Tuesday, essentially ending the box office of that run very quickly. I feel what will happen is that they will gain a bigger audience from the streaming on HBO Max or VOD or whatever streaming service available in other countries, and see more of an appeal, and if it works out well, it will either garner a bigger success on being a streaming-based film, or have a limited cinema release and then a streaming release. Kind of like what Netflix did with a few films, which release it for a week, and then you drop it onto Netflix soon after. But I think in some capacity, I feel like maybe we'll probably get word that whether or not the next part is going to go straight to cinemas, because we do have another 3 parts still on the way. We have part 2 coming out sometime now, whenever, and we have part 3 and 4 currently in development, so I feel logically we probably might see something about it in the future, but who knows. but once I hear anything, I'll update about it. But now on the other side, we're talking on a film that has been making the big bucks, and this is of course with the excellent follow-up to Inside Out 2, as now just surpassed The Incredibles 2 and has become the highest grossing Pixar film of all time and currently the 4th highest grossing animated film. And technically they say it's the 5th, but I'm not counting 2019's Lion King as a animated film because it's a live action remake, so I'm not counting it. And it's still going strong. Now, I've seen a positive and negative that both the positive, it does deserve a success. I loved it, I cried at the end of it, and so did the other person I went to see it with, and we both really enjoyed it, and glad to see it with them as well. And I will be doing a full review for this to be coming in the next few days, hopefully. But the issue is that it could see this the only way of success is with the likes of franchising being the big earner, but I see Pixar see the success rolling in from their originals and franchises. Like, I'm looking forward to a live this time next year. But overall, great success in this film. I know I will give another few viewings to this film very soon. I might go see it in the cinemas again. I'd love to see it. But what are your thoughts on this release change, and do you see it get a theatrical release for the rest of them, and do you think Inside Out 2 deserves its massive success, and do you think this will be the only way they'll make big money with Pixar? Let me know what you think down below. And of course, to end this week on a high note is something that I do not need any explanation to. And it's just been shown that most of you probably know about this announcement from the Breaking Inner earlier this week on Tuesday. It was confirmed with this.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play.
That after a lot of rumors and speculation, as well as I mentioned from 2 weeks ago, that Shrek 5 is now currently happening. And a brief teaser, they unveiled that the 5th film will be releasing on July 1st, 2026. Confirmed that Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz have all been confirmed to be coming back as Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona, respectively. Now, it's not confirmed yet that Antonio Banderas is in this, but in most case how The Last Wish ended, it seems likely they will make an appearance, as well as maybe Kitty Softpaws and Perito from that film too, which I hope they do. I think there's been rumors that Perito's voice actor has specifically did stuff for this, so who knows. Besides that, no other info has been given, but it seems to be exciting and will unite the internet together after all this time. And for what I'm looking forward to it, and also seeing the battle of the fives between this and Toy Story 5. Hopefully Toy Story 5 will be good as well. But what are your thoughts on all this? And are you excited for a 5th Shrek film in particular? And what do you see this film being about in particular? I have an idea for a villain, but I'll get to it when I do maybe a little short opinion on stuff. Let me know your thoughts and ideas of it down below. And of course, that's all the news that we have for this week.
I'm not really feeling like I wanna get lit. Tell us how you feeling. I'm feeling like shit.
And as always, that's episode 60 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my ramble for probably about 20 minutes at this point. Okay, some updates. I have 2 reviews currently ready to go. I just have to finish recording them, which is the moment Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny, and Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. I have both of them written up and ready to go with just recording bits of it. I do have 2 more reviews I'm going to get pumped out quick enough as well. I'm going to do a quick one for Inside Out 2, as well as one for Despicable Me 4, as I mentioned, because I have a lot to say about the 4th Despicable Me, and I want to gush about Inside Out 2 first. I will do some other short form ones, long form ones. I'm trying to figure out some gameplay ones. I think one of the next ones on my list is Red Dead 2. I'm going to figure that out. My head is just really here, there, everywhere, so it's kind of a case instance that like I'm rather focused on something, moving away for a bit, or just constantly crying and filled with anxiety. Anyway, some gameplay stuff. I have 1 or 2 videos ready to go for that one. It's gonna like fix some little editing issues for the trim down some small bits for the 2 recent episodes of Hogwarts Legacy, and I'll upload them. Hopefully they'll be out by the time this episode comes out, but I'll have to see. Maybe at least one of them. We'll see about that case. Long form ones that are getting worked on, rewatchathon. I've recorded a bit more footage for it, so hopefully you'll know that one soon. I'm hoping for the end of the summer. I'm gonna aim for the end of the summer for this one. So I've got at least 1 or 2 more left for part 1. Part 2 I'm gonna get working on over a bit and maybe upload it in the year or start next year. Who knows? A long form ones, the other one I'm gonna get working on. I got some stuff I got to work on for private things. They're gonna be important secret ones, but I don't know if I'll share them. Maybe for 2 instances, but I'll see down the line. Like, it's kind of in case like a Final Year College thing I made, which I might release. It's kind of a choose your own adventure narrative. I'm going to figure out how to release on YouTube, but I'll figure it out. I need some ways and stuff. And yeah, I'm going to hopefully, if you give me a rundown on some stuff about games to play for your consoles and other things, that'd be great as well. Also, I want to give you opinions. Would you be interested in me doing like just random streams, like, you know, building Lego sets and maybe just building jigsaws or something like that, having the chats and stuff? Kind of things as well, some other bits like ASMR and other book reading stuff. I'm going to get to that eventually. But yeah, let me know what you think of it down below and stuff like that, as well as the cases. And so I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'm just going to leave it there. So as always, if you enjoy this video and want to see more from me and more frequently, a lot more stuff from me, then like and subscribe, because I upload frequently every week. It mixes amount of stuff released every week, at least once a week, twice a week, multiple times. Who knows? When I have the content, I'll make it. Share it around to people who may not have seen my stuff, and like, you know, bring them to the channel. Welcome. Like, I don't bite. I'm approachable. I welcome you all with a hug. I'll offer you, like, you know, tea and biscuits and stuff like that, and we'll have a chit chat about anything. Share around, comment below all your thoughts and everything that was discussed this week, and yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with any of you. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm getting very warm in this room, even though I just had a nice clean shower, and it's very warm. But as always, I hope you all stay being wonderful people. Have a great day every day, and, you know, keep being you, because no one's going to do. And of course, take care of your mental health, because it's very important. And also, you know, be supportive of one another, because, you know, things are very scary nowadays, and we got to keep ourselves with each other. So again, like and subscribe, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next week. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.